I just concluded the 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. He is a clinical psychologist or psychotherapist, and he is a professor of psychology at the University of Toronto in Canada. A lot of us don't like rules, and the major reason is we just don't want to be told what to do. I need us to understand something about rules. They are for our benefit. Rule 1 is stand up straight with your shoulders back. This is implying that you need to be bold and courageous. The world is difficult as it is, and it is only for the strong. The second rule is treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping. It's amazing how we don't treat ourselves well. Not treating ourselves well will lead to a dissatisfied life. Now here's an example. It's totally relatable. When you're not feeling well and you go to the hospital, they give you drugs to take because they want you to feel better, and you want to feel better. But how many of us stick to the dosage of those drugs and complete it? We rarely do. Day 1, we stick to the drugs. Day 2, we're feeling better. And day 3, guess what? We throw the drugs away. But if you are responsible for helping someone who isn't feeling well, oh, I bet you will stick to this rule, knowing that the person's recovery is in your hands. And if you don't do what is required of you to ensure that this person recovers, then it is on you. Now, rule number 3, befriend people who want the best for you. I always say this, the purpose of friendship is not to intimidate. The purpose of friendship is to nourish one another, to grow one another. Imagine being friends with someone who doesn't want the best for you. That is a life of hell. Like, you don't know if you should share something good that is happening in your life because you don't know if this person will be happy for you. So 1, you need to be very deliberate about the friends that you make. We need to know how to separate and categorize the people in our lives. This one I will hold so dear. This one I'm going to keep at a distance. It is for your sanity. It is for your own good. Please befriend people who want the best for you. Don't insist on keeping people in your life that don't want the best for you. Rule number 4 is to compare yourself with who you were yesterday, not to who you are today. And that is for you to see if you are improving, if you are growing. We tend to compare ourselves with the next person. That is not right. You are different from this person. You are blessed with skills and abilities and talents that this person doesn't have. You shouldn't compare yourself with other people because you will be unhappy. They are on a different path to life. To compare yourself with who you were yesterday helps you reflect and tell yourself, I didn't do too well here. I didn't talk to this person well. I was angry. Yes, I was upset. I will do better tomorrow. You're not in competition with anybody, please. And I see that as a trend. We're trying to outdo each other. Why? That can only lead to pain, frustration, and heartache. We are not perfect. And that is why we need to embark on this journey of comparing ourselves for the purpose of evolution, for the purpose of growth. Rule number 5, don't let your children do anything that will make you dislike them. What you allow, you approve. That rule talks about ensuring that you're constantly correcting your children, because Because when you don't do that, it gets to the point where your children form habits that make you really dislike them, and you do not want to dislike your children. If you find yourself disliking your children as parents, you need to understand that there are certain things that they are doing that you're letting them go away with. Now, rule number 6 is to set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. This is a very deep rule. We're all criticizing the world, all criticizing the government, all criticizing what is not right in the society. But then, what about our homes? How is it like at home? Are we in perfect order in the home front? I always say this: the home front is that unit that is responsible for the people in our society. If the home front is sorted and taken care of, then the world will be a better place. Is there disagreement in the home front? Are there fights that need to be sorted out or settled? Is there some behavior that is in the family that you need to nip in the bud, or you need to call the person's attention to? Do you need to ensure that there is peace and love and harmony in the home front? Then do that, because we seem to be channeling our energies in the wrong places. Keep your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. Rule number 7. Pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient. We find ourselves just doing things because we have to do them. But you don't have to do them if it doesn't make sense to you and if it's not meaningful. Now, rule number 8, tell the truth, or at least don't lie. It doesn't talk about white lies or gray lies or black lies. Just tell the truth. And telling the truth here means telling it even when it hurts. We don't like the truth, but we need to get to that point where we begin to embrace truth, no matter how painful or uncomfortable it is for us to hear or to even tell it, because you will be doing the person that needs to hear this truth a disservice if you don't tell them the truth, and you will not be at peace if you do not tell the truth. And he gave an instance where he had a neighbor who, because of life's issues, now became a drunkard. He would use up all his money, and then when he ran out of money, he would come to Jordan to sell either a toaster or some instrument in the kitchen or equipment at the house, just to raise money to go and drink again. And so one day the wife had a discussion with him, and they understood that they weren't helping him. Rather, they were sponsoring this behavior that they were worried about, and they really liked him. So one day Jordan had to summon up the courage and tell him the truth, that I'm sorry, I will not be able to buy anything from you again, because when we do this, we are encouraging you to drink, and we like you so much. We don't want you to end up with this kind of lifestyle. And guess what? He was calm and he left. But he was 100% grateful to Jordan for telling him the truth. Rule number 9 is to assume that the person you're talking to knows something that you don't. A friend of mine drew my attention to the fact that people are always talking and rarely listening. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody has something to say. And people have gradually done away with their ability to listen. Now, people want to be heard, okay? So we need to strike a balance with talking and listening. One of the things that will help us to listen is assuming that some other person knows something that you don't. And it also helps you learn as well. Because if we go on chatting away and not listening, then we are at risk of not learning something new. Rule number 10 is to be precise in your speech. Just say what it is that you want. Don't go around in circles. Don't ramble. Just say what you want. You know what? I am hungry and I would love to just not continue with this conversation until I have eaten. Not, okay, I like what you're saying, but, this conversation, don't you think that we should move to another time? Oh, yes, we can move this conversation to another time, but no. That's not being precise. The reason why you want to move the conversation is because you are hungry. So say it. Can we just end this conversation now? I am hungry. I need to go and eat. Or you know what? I am not accepting this. I am not in the right frame of mind for this. I need to go. I will come back to this later. That's being precise, saying what it is that you want and being clear about it so that the other person understands and respects your need for what it is. Rule number 11, do not bother children while they are skateboarding. Now, I will not do justice to this rule. I need you to go get the book and read, because the explanation of this rule is totally different. If you know Jordan Peterson, you know that he is super intelligent, and what he is talking about is totally different from skateboarding. Even though skateboarding was talked about in this chapter, and in terms of how risky it is and how he truly commends the boldness of the children that do this. It's risky, and this helps children to build courage. Above all, it helps children to not be afraid and being able to face and deal with fear. Rule number 12, which is pet a cat when you encounter one on the street. All I can say about this rule is that it talks about dealing with the fragility of life. We really don't have control over what happens to us in our lives, but we have a choice on how we want that which affects us to affect us. We can choose to be positive about it, we can choose to be optimistic about it, or we can choose to surrender. Life is not clear-cut, You are healthy today, tomorrow something happens. Look at us in the world today. We started the year 2020 with so much optimism, with so much celebrations and hopes for the future, and today we are faced with the challenge of the COVID-19 virus. So what do? Life is fragile. Living itself is fragile, but then we need to make the choice to say that, you know what, regardless of this, we're going to be hopeful, we're going to fight for survival, and we're going to choose to be happy and do what is within our control to have a beautiful life. And so before I leave, here is a quote for reflection. The purpose of life is to be happy. I will see you in my next video. Peace and angels.